The film opens by introducing us to Chev, the main character. Chev is a professional hitman who targets high-profile and influential individuals. He works under Carlito, the powerful leader of a vast Mexican cartel. Following Carlito's orders, Chev had previously killed Kim, a rival from China, which resulted in numerous enemies. One morning, Chev wakes up feeling extremely unwell. His vision is fuzzy, and he struggles to walk as he stumbles into his living room. There, he discovers a video disc and plays it on his TV. The tape features Ricky, another assassin, who explains that he has poisoned Chev while he was asleep. Ricky reveals that the toxin will kill Chev within an hour. Infuriated by this revelation, Chev smashes the TV in anger. He quickly jumps into his car and drives at high speed to a nearby club to find Ricky. On the way, he contacts Caro, his informant, and asks him to locate Ricky so he can get his revenge. While driving, Chev's heartbeat begins to slow, and he struggles to stay conscious. Despite this, he manages to reach the club and forces his way inside. Chev immediately grabs the club owner and holds him at gunpoint. The assassin inquires about Ricky's whereabouts, but the owner calmly states he doesn't know. Chev, frustrated by the response, heads back to his car and speeds away. Moments later, he contacts his doctor, Miles, and describes his symptoms. After listening, Miles informs Chev that he was poisoned with the deadly Chinese cocktail, which halts adrenaline production in the body. Miles advises Chev to stay active to boost his adrenaline, as failing to do so would be fatal. He also mentions that he's out of town but will return in a few hours. Chev thanks Miles and ends the call. Just then, a loudspeaker commands Chev to pull over, and he notices several police cars trailing him. Using the police chase to his advantage, Chev decides to increase his adrenaline. He ignores the orders to stop and drives straight into a mall with the police in close pursuit. Eventually, he crashes his car on an escalator and manages to escape through a back door. Once outside, he rushes to a nearby taxi, forcefully pulls out the passenger, and orders the driver to speed away. While in the cab, Chev follows the doctor's advice by constantly moving and shaking his head. After a short drive, they arrive at a grocery store, and Chev quickly enters. He threatens the cashier with a gun, grabs a bunch of energy drinks, and then rushes back to the taxi. Finally, Chev directs the driver to take him to Carlito's house. He joins Carlito in the pool and talks with the cartel lord. Chev finds out that Carlito knows about his situation and even ordered it. The cartel was being attacked by the Chinese gang seeking revenge after Kim's assassination. To make peace, Carlito decided to have Chev killed. Furious, Chev leaves the house and heads back to his cab. He throws the driver out and steals the car, speeding away. A few minutes later, he gets a call from Miles, who gives him more tips on dealing with the poison. The doctor advises him to get some epinephrine shots from a hospital. Chev thanks the doctor and ends the call just as Caro calls in. Caro tells him that he saw Ricky's brother, Alex, at a nearby eatery and asks Chev to come over. Chev is thrilled by the news and heads to the restaurant. He waits outside for Alex and attacks him as soon as he steps out. Chev cuts off Alex's hand with a butcher knife and knocks him down. Grabbing Alex by the collar, he demands information about Ricky. Despite his injuries, Alex refuses to betray his brother and tackles Chev to the ground. Caro comes to Chev's aid, hitting Alex on the head with a wooden stick. Distracted, Alex gives Chev the chance to shoot him from behind. A short while later, Chev sneaks into a hospital, pretending to be a patient. He strolls down a corridor but spots two officers in a nearby ward. He bolts immediately, with the officers hot on his heels. Chev stays ahead, weaving through patients and darting downstairs. Spotting medics pushing a patient on a gurney, he rushes towards them, grabbing a nurse and demanding an epinephrine shot at gunpoint. The terrified nurse frantically searches the cart, finds the vial, and hands it over, which Chev hastily grabs. Feeling his heart rate slowing, Chev devises a risky plan to get it racing again. He orders the nurse to use a defibrillator on him. The nurse is reluctant but complies under the threat of the gun. The shock sends Chev flying into an elevator. As the officers reach the elevator to capture him, Chev fires at them, forcing them to take cover. He pushes a patient out and closes the elevator doors, heading down to make his escape. While descending, Chev draws the drug into a syringe and injects it, accidentally overdosing. This sends him into a hyperactive state, and he zips around the city. He finally halts upon finding a crowd watching TV on the street. where he learns the police have launched a citywide manhunt for him. Meanwhile, Ricky learns about his brother's death when his men bring Alex's severed hand to him. Furious upon finding out that Chev is responsible, Ricky vows to hunt him down and kill him. On the other side of town, Chev is worried about his girlfriend, Eve, and calls her to make sure she's okay. Relieved to hear her voice, he tells her that he will be at her place soon. Eve, unsuspecting of any danger, casually ends the call with a goodbye kiss. Shortly after, Chev spots a policeman on a motorcycle, snatches the officer's gun, and forces him to back off. He then steals the bike, mockingly circles around the cop before speeding off to Eve's house. Once there, he urgently tells her to get dressed, and they leave the apartment together. Outside, Chev notices one of Ricky's henchmen and intentionally drops Eve's bag to distract her. While Eve picks it up, Chev attacks the thug, breaking his neck and disposing of him in a pool. He then returns to Eve, and they head downtown to a nearby restaurant. While waiting for their food, Chev confesses to Eve that he is a professional hitman and explains the danger they are in. Eve is shocked and suspects that Chev is fabricating the story to break up with her. Angry, she leaves the restaurant, with Chev following close behind. He grabs her hand but suddenly feels his heart slowing down, causing him to collapse. To jumpstart his heart, Chev asks Eve to inject him with adrenaline through a passionate act in the street. Initially, Eve thinks he's insane but is swayed when he kisses her. In the end, the couple engages into that activity passionately as the watching crowd cheers them on. At that moment, Chev gets a call from Caro, who tells him that Ricky is at a nearby warehouse. Hearing this, Chev quickly puts his pants back on, kisses Eve goodbye, and heads to the given location. Eve also dresses while the onlookers go about their day. When Chev arrives at the warehouse, he is met by Carlito's men and soon discovers that Caro has been killed. Chev realizes that Carlito, his boss, ordered his murder to draw him into a trap. Enraged, Chev shoots and kills 2 of the men, initiating a gunfight. Moments later, Chev is shocked to see Eve in the building's elevator. He rushes toward her, using Caro's body as a shield to protect himself from the gunfire. Just as he jumps into the elevator, he gets shot in the leg. The pair takes the lift to the ground floor, where tailors are busy sewing. Chev ambushes one of the thugs and forces his hand into a sewing machine, causing the man to scream in pain. Chev and Eve then escape the building in a stolen car. Carlito's men quickly follow, sparking a high-speed chase. Chev tries to lose them, but they persist and shoot at his car. Fortunately, the bullets only hit the back window, and Chev manages to shoot back, causing the pursuing cars to crash. Finally, after they escape, Chev receives a call from Miles, who informs him that he's back in town. Chev feels relieved and heads to Miles's place. There, Miles administers an epinephrine infusion to slow down the poison's effect. The doctor explains to him that there is no cure for the poison, and he's certain to die within hours. Miles offers a painless poison to make his death easier, but Chev declines, saying he has unfinished business with Ricky. Shortly after, Chev calls Ricky and arranges to meet at a nearby hotel. Ricky agrees, and Chev ends the call. Chev bids goodbye to Eve with a kiss and promises to return before heading to the hotel. In the hotel bathroom, Chev loads his gun and hides it under his coat before taking the elevator to the top floor. There, 2 of Ricky's men greet him and forcefully take his gun before leading him to Ricky. Chev finds Ricky and Carlito seated together. After some brief exchanges, Carlito produces a syringe with the Chinese cocktail poison from his briefcase. He orders his men to restrain Chev so he can administer a fatal dose. Before Carlito's men can act, one of them is shot in the head. Carlito's crew is stunned, only to realize that a rival gang behind Chev took the shot. Carlito is shocked to see the rival gang led by Kim. A flashback reveals that Chev had spared Kim's life and told him to lay low for a few days, leading to rumors of Kim's death. However, he has been alive and hiding the entire time. To show his gratitude, Kim brought his gang to save Chev from his treacherous employer. The Chinese mafia opens fire on Carlito and his men, causing the gang to scatter to dodge the bullets. Ricky aims his gun at the rival gang, but Chev throws a wine bottle at him, chopping off his fingers. Meanwhile, Carlito hides behind a wall and calls his pilot to land a helicopter on the roof. Moments later, Chev sees Carlito leaving and follows him up a flight of stairs. He catches up to Carlito just as he is about to board the helicopter. At that moment, Ricky sneaks up behind Chev, and injects him with the second dose of poison. Carlito yells at Ricky for abandoning him during the shootout, prompting Ricky to angrily shoot Carlito in the chest. Ricky then throws Carlito's body out of the helicopter and orders the pilot to take off. As the helicopter rises, Chev grabs the door and attacks Ricky. They engage in a fistfight high in the sky and eventually fall from the aircraft. While falling, Chev grabs Ricky's neck and snaps it, completing his revenge. Shortly after, Chev lands on a car, bounces off, and hits the ground. The movie ends with Chev staring wide-eyed at the camera and blinking, showing that he is still alive. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.